Hello, wonderful people. Good morning from Dhaka, Bangladesh. I'm Joy here. I'm gonna be reviewing a fragrance which is kind of not your typical everyday fragrance that you see reviews a lot. This is kind of one of those fragrances you see once in a while in fragrance groups. Some classy gentleman would post a beautiful bottle, such as this one, which I do not have at this moment. I have just have a sample, official sample. But this particular fragrance I see in few groups posted by few members, and I really wanted to try it someday, and I was lucky enough. I picked up few samples few days back. I selected them from our brother's page called USB UK Shopping from BD, and this was one of them. And I really wanted to try it, and I was very glad that I actually got to test this fragrance. So this fragrance is gonna be a French house. I do not know how to actually pronounce the house correctly. I'm sorry about that. It's either Houbigant Paris or it's Houbigant Paris. I think either one. Even if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But the fragrance called Fougere Royale. That one I know for sure. Beautiful pattern that I will show you perhaps from my phone, and I'll put a cover picture. The bottle is something to die for. I really love how classy this bottle is. So this fragrance actually was released in 1800s. I forgot exact year, and then they relaunched it in 2010. Okay, and I did see the reviews of my favorite two reviewers. Okay, two reviewers would be Dan Norton from UK, one of my favorite reviewers and my friend, as well as I would say Sebastian Zara, who is one of the best in the game. So their reviews really got me interested in this one because Fougere is kind of fragrance based on lavender, sometimes barbershoppy, not really everybody's cup of tea. And it's done, Fougere is done differently in different fragrance. Sometimes, I'll tell you what I got. So this is one fragrance many people ask me, how do you like it? I'll let you know today my thoughts, longevity, who is it for, seasons, how does it smell to me. Those are things I'll try to explain. So I'm sorry really about that not being able to show you the presentation because I'm going through some crunch time, which is why I'm not being able to buy so many full-on bottles. I really apologize for that. And if you are disappointed a little bit, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to disappoint you, but I'm sorry about that. But if you're really interested in this fragrance, keep watching. So the first of all, this fragrance is not gonna be everybody's cup of tea. I want to start it on that note because this is kind of like a masculine, not to say masculine, mature fragrance. It's like a gentleman, mature gentleman's fragrance. I have it on my hand on the dry down. It smells a little bit different than what you get up top. And this particular fragrance actually tried to recapture like what this house was trying to do, the smell of ferns, fern leaves. And fern leaves, or even if it's fern plants, they, as far as I understand, I remember barely, like in our school days, we used to have a lot of fern around in our school because they're like buildings, old buildings. So if you go by the side of the buildings, you see a lot of fern leaves and stuff. So I have good memories of that, but not really something that's strong. Maybe if you break it, you get this kind of like a green herbal smell that comes from that leaf. But I remember they had some smell. So I will also see if I can get this in this particular perfume. So when I sprayed for the first time. I'm sorry, okay, just gonna show you the sample anyway. This is how the sample looks. It's official 1.5 ml. It's EDP concentration, and it's made in France. They have some description of the fragrance. I've gone through some of the juice. Let me show you the bottle as per my best. This is how that bottle will look. It looks really lovely. If you see that bottle, this is how I imagine like a niche house would do a fragrance, okay? So I'm not sure if this is a niche or designer house. It could be a niche house. I'm sorry if I'm mistaken. So this fragrance is that beautiful little bottle. It's a green, mild green colored juice, I believe. Yes, and the bottle, it's really lovely. I really love to get one of these bottles because I believe there are a couple of them. So let's spray this and talk about it. I'll tell you what I get from it. Okay. Here's the dry down already. It's already reached like the mid stage of it. So let me try like bring back the opening top note. Let's go 2 sprays. And this fragrance has a lot of notes. This fragrance has the main notes like Fougere will always feature more or less like floral or let's say lavender mostly on most part. And when you hear Fougere, many people are scared already because many guys do not like floral fragrances or they do not appreciate barbershop sort of fragrance. What I mean by barbershop, for the review's sake, I'm just wearing this on my t-shirt twice. This is Dracan Noir by Guy Laroche. This is one of the iconic men's barbershop, sort of like a shaving foam, spicy lavender kind of fragrance. Doesn't last a whole lot of time, but it's really masculine. So this is one of the ideal example of barbershop or Fougere kind of fragrance. And then, if you also know, there's a classic kind of a green fragrance which has the citrus aroma. This is Dior Eau Sauvage by Christian Dior. So many people look at Fougere Royale and I think they compare it in Fragrantica as kind of similar to Eau Sauvage. When you smell it for the first time, it does remind you of a little bit of citrus, old school citrus, which reminds me a little bit of Pour Monsieur and then also Eau Sauvage. I'm not gonna say I do not get the resemblance. I see what they're coming from. There's also Armani Eau Porum. That one also has a kind of citrus elements. So basically, 90s, 80s, the way they did citrus back in the time, a lot of fragrances had this kind of citrus. It's very mature and old school classic citrus. This one has it as well. So at the opening, I do pick up that beautiful, I think it's a lemon. It's probably a lemon, but very soon it starts going to greener side of things. And you do get kind of like a green combo. And there are a few other notes definitely in there, but mostly what I do get in this is that oak moss. If I could be wrong, it could be some other green notes, but it's kind of like a smelling like a leafy, that fern, and then lavender, and then basically that oak moss. There's nothing animalistic about this fragrance. It's very, very classy, like Creed's not really greenish to it. It's more like some of their classy fragrances. I'm trying to remember Bois de Portugal. If you like that one, this has that sort of a vibe of that. And also one of my favorite fragrances, kind of like a barbershop, but at the same time green, woody, Platinum Egoist. I'm not saying they're the same. This is a lot more modern, but and like loud. This fragrance right here, the Fougere Royale. First of all, the performance on me, it was okay. It was not supremely long-lasting or supremely loud. It was just classy. It's like a classy evening on gray suit. Imagine like the suit Al Pacino was wearing in that film, A Scent of Woman, and he was doing that tango scene, and he was wearing this beautiful suit. Al Pacino looks good in anything, even if he's playing a thug. He looks so good, and he's one of my favorite actors. So if imagine like a nice, well-dressed gentleman, not like I'm wearing a T-shirt, but if imagine like Al Pacino is rocking that gray suit, and he has everything. There's like the suit is just right, and a white shirt, and there's like a nice handkerchief or something, and nicely done hair, which totally is opposite of what I'm doing today. This is the fragrance I imagine they'll be wearing in like a ballroom or classy setup for a dinner purpose. And it's just a classy, elegant gentleman who's not trying to be show off. Like this is no Chris Aventus, okay? So if you do like that mossy fern, like and I believe there are some other notes in there. I just cannot remember. Is it a floral note, galbanum or something? I forgot. Which there's a floral note somewhere in this. So it's like on the opening, there's a citrus element which disappears, and then it becomes kind of like a scent would remain until the last stage of the fragrance. So overall, this fragrance I got about 4 hours. For EDP, that could be a bad thing to many, but I think it's okay. I do not know the price too of this fragrance yet, but I don't think it's more than $120 for a big bottle. That should be a good pricing. So here's the thing. I'm not going to suggest this fragrance for everybody. This is not a Dior Sauvage. This is not Dylan Blue. This is not Eros or 1 million type of fragrance. This has this very, not to say old man vibe, but definitely a more like a person who has got into fragrance game for some time, and they are just discovering more complexity of fragrances and some more of the back in the time, like Chanel Antaeus, Pour Monsieur, or what's the other one? There's one more I'm trying to remember. Chanel Egoist, those fragrances. If you like those, this is kind of like could be like a gray brother, like gray suit I was talking about. Not a dark brother, but kind of like a gray brother to those fragrances, if you like those fragrances. So I would suggest this is for classy setup, again, formal. You can wear it like casually, you can wear whatever you want, but perfect for fall. I think it's good for, those fall time would be perfect. You can wear it for summer days as well, but it's a breezy summer sort of days, okay? Let's say outside, picnic time. Back in the time, things were beautiful. If you see 50s movies, like a film where they go out with family picnic baskets and stuff, they take like nice sort of a setup and then sit, the ladies are sitting there, guys are like, gents are like, they're hanging out, life is easy, no mobile phones, no, people are not doing that. this fragrance reminds me the time before mobile phones, which is correct because this was before that. So that's the specialty of this fragrance. It has its own thing going. It has its own persona. I can see perhaps Bonnie and Clyde, that film, wearing this. Uh, Timeless classic kind of fragrance. So I would say Fougere Royale is not for everybody, but I like it a lot. It's a very classy fragrance for a classy evening time. And the smell of fern, as I was telling you, I kind of get that, but I cannot exactly remember if it was that those liquids are coming out of those leaves or the green, but it kind of reminds me of those greeneries. Okay, so yeah, it's a very interesting fragrance, I would say, and a very lovely bottle, and I'm really happy I got to experience this fragrance. I would say it's not a must buy. If you're a collector that you like Prada L'Homme and you just want 5 fragrances for everyday usage, this is perhaps not gonna be a pick up like a dumb reach. You really have to like this fragrance a lot to reach for it. So get a sample perhaps like this and then see if it works for you. That's the best way to find out if this fragrance works for you or not. I would give this for the bottle presentation, smell, I'll give this a 9 out of 10. Very beautiful fragrance. Longevity could be better, performance could be better, but you know, you don't get everything in one fragrance. So that's Fougere Royale for you, and thanks for watching. I tried my best to describe the fragrance. If I'm picking up something new in future, I'll update. So take care, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a very nice day ahead, and hopefully we'll see better days in upcoming days. Bye bye.